And I respect Travis all too much. And when you say that, you're usually about to say something mean about somebody. Heard there was no prenup. I don't like that.
My views about getting a prenup over the years have changed.
Okay, all right.
So
to me personally, I know even if my wife would have said it to me, I'm looking at that as like there's only one need for a prenup, and that's if we're getting divorced.
I think if you're in a situation where one spouse is like making like a whole lot of money and the other one isn't, I kind of see it as
Yo, happy day. Welcome back to the Get Busy podcast. That's your boy B. Jones.
That's your boy I.Z.
We in this thing.
That sounded weird. Want to do it again?
Nope, let's rock with it.
Okay. The less editing I gotta do.
Right. Man, so yo, what's good, man? How you feeling? Okay.
Man,
right.
I gotta work on getting more sleep, bro. Just going 100 miles an hour, I feel like, and then, doing this, Xanthicide biz, my regular job, her regular job, kids, preparing dinner, fixing stuff around the house,
Yep.
getting ready for company, just all kind of stuff, man. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
But I'm not complaining. You know what? So I was cutting the grass. This was 2 days ago because we finally stopped getting rain. Mm-hmm. And, we put that stuff down in the grass, that fertilizer / weed killer. And it's like, it works. The grass is like
Luscious.
Mm-hmm. But it's also growing faster. It's like, dang. So, and I'm, sitting on a lot of acres, bro. And I got a push lawnmower. Luckily, I got the self-propelled
you can
joint
kind of
that helps.
Forward. Yep.
But still, even with that, it's a lot of walking, bro. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe like, it feels like maybe like 2 hours to cut my grass, and I got to refill.
Got you.
When you at that level, you really need a riding lawnmower, but I don't know. It kind of doubles as a workout for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But like, I remember like the day after, man, like my body was like, I've had enough. Like, you've been going up and down ladders at work. Now you doing this lawnmower stuff. Like, we're going to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to shut it down. I don't care what you do, but no complaints, man. Like, yeah, I don't want to complain because it's I'm living in my blessing. So
100%.
Yeah. So how you been, bro?
Yo, similar, to be honest with you. So it's like, you know what I mean? Especially because of, I'm doing the two things with, still doing the industrial radiology. I'm climbing in and out of ditches, lifting tubes and, physical labor kind of.
Yeah.
Very necessary stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then get off and still go do collections and, do the drug testing thing.
Right.
In between, get home, make sure I'm there with the kids, dinner, bedtime stories, turn around, leave out of the house after bedtime. But that's part of it though, you know what I mean? And it's like, man, my aunt that passed away a couple of years ago, she used to say something, and it was all things are possible in Jesus. All things are possible in Jesus. All things are possible in Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what she would kind of repeat to herself whenever she was tired. And I just started doing that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because you find yourself sometimes, as parents, I mean, I'm sure, most people have some sort of similar story. It's not like enough hours in the day for what we got to accomplish. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, man, at the end of the day, like exactly what you said, like we're in the process of living in our blessings, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And being able to do these things and provide for the families and be there for the kids and everything else, it's really huge, man. And as somebody that's dealing with the Department of Family and Child Services and seeing all these broken homes on a daily basis, like the importance of what it is that you're doing in this moment, the importance of what it is that we're doing, it can't be understated. So like, seeing the terrible side of it is what kind of gives me a little extra juice. You know what I mean?
Perspective, bro. That's good. That's good, man. Yeah, man. Speaking of perspective, man, how you feeling about your Knicks? They just got eliminated.
So since you just want to rip the Band-Aid right off.
I mean, but it's not a bad. So, because they made it a lot further than anybody thought.
So blue and orange.
Y'all sucked for like, I don't know, what, 30 years?
Almost. Yeah, excuse me. Okay, first of all, we're not.
Last time y'all was good, I didn't have a beard. Like I wasn't. Even, I don't think I was capable of growing
all right, that's
facial
enough right
hair.
That's enough, sir. That's enough. Okay.
No, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's enough. All right.
Because everybody don't watch basketball. They don't know.
You're just trying to, you're doing too much right now. Okay. All right. First of all, it hasn't been 30 years. Okay. It's been 26 years. I think I was
rocking the box fade.
Okay. No.
The high top fade.
Oh, here we go.
Back when y'all was like decent.
Yo, when we were really good, you might have been rocking the box cut. But I mean, so 26 years ago, we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay.
Okay.
So 99. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's close to 30, but every year counts. All right. So that's first of all.
All right.
But and before yesterday, I did look at it as a successful season. So first of all, for those that don't know, like I bleed blue and orange. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, a diehard Mets fan. And I was a Giants fan until recently. That's a whole different story. I'm not dealing with the Giants anymore, in any way. But so the Knicks, man, slowly but surely, there's been progress the last couple of years. They, get to the second round of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. This year they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Everybody can kind of like, yeah, we really did something,
bro. Nah, New Yorkers are going crazy. Y'all was in New York jumping off of light poles and stage like crowd in the street celebrating. You know what I'm saying? As if y'all won the finals.
Yeah, I mean, so in New York they celebrate big. You know what I mean?
I saw Knicks jerseys at the church. You still see the creases in them just from opening the boxes when they got them from Amazon. Like, man, get out of here with these Knicks fans,
man.
Boy.
It's real, but I
forgot how annoying Knicks fans were until recently. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's because we finally have an opportunity to celebrate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So and we're not as bad as Dallas Cowboy fans. So, but we get this far, man, and then they fired Tom Thibodeau yesterday.
So what's your feelings on that? I was very surprised.
So
Thibodeau, for the first time in 30 years.
26.
Almost 30 years. Yeah. Leads your team.
Right.
Not even like on paper the best team. Like y'all got past the Celtics, who looked like they were probably going to repeat for the championship.
They did.
In my opinion, the Celtics were the best team on paper, defending champions. You beat them somehow. You had a good series against the Pacers.
Yeah. So this,
and then they fired dude.
So in the previous, before Tom Thibodeau,
mm-hmm.
from 1999 until 4 years ago, 2021, I guess, 2021 when he got there,
mm-hmm.
the Knicks had 7 playoff wins. From that time, he didn't go to the playoffs the first year, went to the second round the second year, second round the third year, in Eastern Conference Finals. He had 17 playoff wins since then,
mm-hmm.
and made it to the Eastern Conference. So there was progress. You know what I mean?
That's a big jump.
It's a huge jump. And so for me, that's the part that's difficult to deal with, because it's like, how do you fire somebody that got you as far as you've been? You're one step away from the championship, right?
Yeah.
So it's like being on your job, beating your quota for whatever your sales thing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being in the top 2 of the earners for your company and then getting fired for it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But so that's how I feel about it. But I do understand. He's not an offensive coach, bro. He's just really old school, and he doesn't have an offense that has translated to 2025 basketball. It's just give the ball to Brunson and make it work. The reason why they beat the Celtics is because the Celtics had collapses in like 3 games. We had to come back 20 points. We should have never been struggling with Indianapolis or Indiana. We lost to Indiana last year. So
Okay, so did the Celtics have a collapse, or did the Knicks play hard?
The Celtics had a collapse. The Knicks did play hard. The Celtics had a collapse also.
Okay.
You shouldn't.
Okay. So you're down 20-something points to the Celtics. That's expected. It's the Celtics. They're at the top of their game. I think they are all healthy.
They were.
Bench was great.
Right.
Their starting players are the best in the league.
Yep.
You're down by 20-something points. Your coach is still coaching, and somehow y'all get back and y'all win those games. To me, that ain't got nothing to do with the coach. of the Knicks.
I mean,
He was just like, all right, let's just, and it just, hey, we're actually doing something now. Like,
I mean, no, definitely. I mean, the coach that he was there, he was coaching. So I mean, yeah, of course he had something to do with it.
okay,
You know, so
it's a weird firing. It's just
it's tough, man. It's tough, and then it's like, who do you get after that? You know what I mean? So it's like,
it better be somebody that has rings.
so it's like you get married, right? And you've been growing with your wife, and you know, slowly but surely, you are both becoming the person that you want to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I want my wife to be this in my head, and she's growing to be that. You know, she starts off in this place, and I love her, and then slowly but surely, she's starting to cook a little bit more, doing the thing. You know, she's doing this way and that. You know, and I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying? And then I just divorce her.
That's a very good analogy.
And I don't know who else I'm, you know, now what? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so now either I'm gonna start back over with some new person and that has no idea who I am, or you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense.
You would, so in that scenario where you got a bad marriage for 20 something, almost 30 years, let's just say 30 years, bad marriage. And then she finally is like, she's changing. You've been praying. She's been making changes. She's not mean anymore. She's picking up slack here. She's showing you love. You're giving her love back. Things, it's not perfect.
I wouldn't even put that 30 years on it, because that was a different marriage at that person, right? Like,
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying.
So this, like, it's only the 4 years. We've been married for 4 years. The Knicks have been married to Tom Thibodeau for 4 years.
Okay.
And so he starts off and it's cool, you know what I'm saying? But it gets better. Right?
All right, so let's say a woman was in an abusive relationship for 26 years. Just beat down,
Okay.
no love,
Man,
infidelity.
oh man, okay. All right.
Oh, wait. Sorrow, depression, yelling, kicking, screaming, not showing up. Then that spouse suddenly dies and you remarry.
Just wait for the Cleveland Browns to come back around this next season.
We're not talking about the Browns right now.
I see these analogies. I see what's going on here.
We're not talking about the Browns right now.
Okay.
The Browns are looking good right now. I'm happy about the Browns. So
I am too.
you know what I'm saying?
I'm happy for you guys.
You remarry.
Yep.
This guy is loving.
Right.
Got a few quirks here and there. But as you know, in those couple of years you're married to him, he's working on stuff. He's you know what I'm saying, you're not depressed anymore.
Right.
You're going on vacations. He's a provider.
Taking care of,
You know what I'm saying? A little stern here and there.
Right.
But he protects you. You know he loves you.
Yes.
He communicates well with you, lets you know what his intentions are.
Right.
You know, leads you through some, you got sick, he took care of you while you were sick, and now he carried you through the, you know what I'm saying, whatever, and you almost make it.
Yep.
You get everything's better, and then you're like, you know what, I'm done. Let me try somebody else.
That's exactly what it's like.
Bruh.
And so this doesn't make sense.
The Knicks will never be good again, ever.
I used to blame it on James Dolan, and now I don't even know what to blame it on anymore.
Yeah, this is sad.
It's a difficult path.
Sorry,
as a
New
Knicks
York.
fan. Nah, sorry, me, man.
I mean,
It's my heart.
I know, but it's a lot of Knicks fans. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So if y'all don't get a proven championship caliber coach next year, or at least somebody that came from the tree of a recent champion, not even like, okay, let's say you got like an assistant coach from like Denver, right? And they just won one. You need.
It's not even any coaches out here that's like,
I don't
not,
think, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I mean, even from like a tree thing, it's like, who? Steve Kerr?
Yeah, Steve Kerr's tree, maybe.
That's the only one, or Duke boy down in Miami, who has been winning multiple championships. Everybody else,
I can see that, but he's not leaving, man. I think they're gonna make him. Talking about
no, I'm saying from his tree, like somebody that was up underneath him or something. You know, like nobody else really been winning championships like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They got
whatever.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
All right, Mel. So today we're actually sticking with sports theme.
Yeah.
Today. So I saw this video, and on the Pivot podcast, they were talking about Travis Hunter. For those of y'all who don't really follow football like that, Travis Hunter played under Deion Sanders at Jackson State and moved to Colorado with Dion. Phenom, actually from Columbia High School.
Mm-hmm.
Phenom, he plays both sides of the ball, plays wide receiver and cornerback. Nobody else in college football is doing.
Played like 100 snap, almost every snap with a football game on both sides, offense, defense, offense.
Yeah. So this kid is like a once in a generation talent. He gets drafted number 2 in this draft to Jacksonville Jaguars. So they were talking about on the podcast. He ended up marrying his high school sweetheart.
Yep.
Do they have a kid? I don't
think so.
I don't think so. So he marries his high school sweetheart. You know what? I'm going to play the video.
Okay. Yeah, play it.
Let's watch the video real quick.
Going back to my small market team, Jacksonville. We got a superstar, potential superstar down there in Travis Hunter. But we ain't talking about sports. Travis just tied the knot.
Congrats,
we excited
Travis,
for Trav.
Congratulations,
for sure.
Of great dudes, you are a young dude I root for. I'm
Yeah,
sorry for
Travis. I mean, you know I got to root for him. I told y'all I was coming, right? Y'all still don't remember? Y'all
Yeah, I remember. You predicted it.
Fred,
You had us looking smart.
you done said some crazy stuff in your life. I thought you was crazy with that one too, and you hit it on the head.
Nah, but no, man, definitely excited for Travis, man. You still got the naysayers out there that trying to attack him, man. But what you guys just thought on this man trying to go do something? He's living his dream. He's living his moment. He's finally tied the knot. He's set to ride off into the sunset with his beautiful bride. What are y'all thoughts that the comments are still attacking?
Information I've gained and the pictures I've seen, and I respect Travis all too much. And when you say that, you're usually about to say something mean about somebody. Heard there was no prenup. I don't like that. This man's about to be a MVP type candidate, I think. I think he'll be an all-pro corner. I think he'll be a very good receiver. You know, we've heard the stories of the past when they were getting together, how she called the man ugly. I don't like all that. I don't like it. I don't like those stories. I don't like those things coming out about a young man I respect. And then with the car, I heard he bought a $250,000 car on the wedding day. That truck, they said it was like
G-Wag.
200 plus.
Yeah,
For what?
his love.
That's not love.
I mean, it's a gift. He loves her.
But you just got a 6-figure ring, and you just brought your whole family in, and we brought everybody together, and we threw a $500,000 wedding, and I am now making you my wife, and now I have to show out more with a $500,000, $250,000 car. That's just, I'll tell the young dudes, if you're leading with that on the first day of marriage, your ass got to keep that up forever. What's he gonna get on that first anniversary, Fred? A jet? When you lead with money, you got to stick with money.
All right. So, he's okay. So what worries me about this kid and a lot of kids, but like just this situation in particular, you go from, it's a little bit different with NIL. So I'm thinking he's probably had a little bit of money. But like you just jumped into, you're a young kid, you jump into like a whole lot of money all of a sudden. And we know that, and we've had this discussion, man, like my gripe about the American educational system. They don't teach kids like actual, like these real life financial
correct literacy
things that
or like understanding.
Yeah, that you actually gonna need.
Right.
And we've determined that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
corporations, we want
Employees
and slaves and
not free thinkers and people that's going to be able to
people that are
operate.
educated. Yeah. Because you need them in debt, you need them sick, you need them all this kind of stuff to be able to control. I mean, make a whole lot of money. So anyway, that's a whole nother topic that we might talk about later. But so this kid, he's buys his, brand new wife for one huge wedding.
Yeah, $5 million. No, half a million.
$500,000 wedding.
500,000.
Big car.
250,000.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Probably, house. The ring, all that kind of stuff. Like all this stuff like up front. And it's like, these are veteran retired football players. They kind of they can see the whole picture. And their concern is like, man, if you're doing this now, and this is like day one, basically.
Yep.
It's like, you got to sustain that, you know what I'm saying, for the rest of your life, bro. Like, and man, so many of these athletes go broke because you spending money like water, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't, like it's not going to run out. Like you're not really thinking about smart financial decisions. And they got into the prenup situation. So
before you get to the prenup, man,
Okay.
my mom told me something in high school, and she was like, yo, because, I was talking on the phone, with the girl I wanted to be with or my girlfriend or whatever, and I'm, talking overnight or
shout out to, no, I was playing.
and making long distance phone calls when they went out of town. I would get the phone number, and at that time you had to pay for calling people.
Man, what y'all know about that?
you had to pay, to make a phone call when they went out of town. So I was
The calling card.
Yeah. So my mom was like, whatever you do when you're dealing with people, especially if you have like a girlfriend or you're in a relationship, like whatever you start off doing, you have to continue doing. So if you don't think that, a year from now or 2 years from now that you want to be on the phone with her, from 6:00 p.m. to 6:00 a.m. or at least be like, if you think that you want to be able to do something other than that, then don't do it, And I was like, that's interesting. Whatever you start off doing, you're going to have to continue doing.
How did you receive that at the time she told you that?
At the time, it was what I wanted to do. So I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You was
But
love.
Right. But I didn't really understand, the context of what she was saying.
Yeah.
But but that's to his point. Shannon, I think, was one that said that, like, yeah, if this is the bar you're starting off, the bar doesn't go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It at the very least, and it never really stays there. Is what I'm saying? But you got to keep that as the floor. That's the basement now.
Yeah.
So anyway, but back to the point about the prenup.
Okay. So all right. So my views about getting a prenup over the years have changed.
Okay. All right.
So I used to be against somebody, man or woman, getting a prenup.
Okay.
Because the things that I've heard, I agree with, it was like, you're planting a seed for divorce, you're planning for divorce, you're not, having confidence in your marriage or anyway. It ended up being like one of those things where it's like, you're going to doom your marriage because now it's about money
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. So I used to be against it. Now I'm 100% for prenups.
Okay. All right.
And most of our opinions, we're coming from like a Christian worldview,
Right.
our individual Christian worldviews,
Right.
that we're sharing with everybody else. So, so the question is like, all right, is it biblical? Is that something that as Christians that we should do? So I'm not saying that everybody should get one. I don't have one. But I think if you're in a situation where one spouse is like making like a whole lot of money and the other one isn't, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay.
I kind of see it as kind of the same thing as life insurance,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't know what can happen to you, which, I think life insurance, a better term for it would be like income replacement insurance. Because when you die, the whole point of life insurance is to be able to provide for your loved one when you die, because you're not able to provide money or services, right?
So, okay, go ahead.
So with the prenup, if one spouse is making like a lot more money than the other one could, and so the thing is, because of like how the court systems kind of like how it's set up to where, and it's to particularly like men who make the most money, like say like the woman, she's stay home mom or whatever, right? And so, you married, or you're, if you're an athlete, you're making millions of dollars, you're married, and your wife is taken care of. She ain't got to work if she don't want to. And then 10 years later, y'all get divorced. She gets half. That's not fair to me.
Okay. So there's a lot that you just said, and I've got to a place where, because I was kind of like you, where I was just anti prenup, and I got to a place where I'm just like, hey, people are going to do whatever they do when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I don't. But you mentioned, I don't know if comparing it to life insurance is a good comparison, because with life insurance, you're guaranteed to die. You just don't know when. And so with the prenup, there's no this is
It's 50-50, cuz.
I mean, in America it is right now, but then we also brought up the fact of, is it biblical? And that's where it gets to be a little bit tricky, right? Because biblically, there's a very small list of reasons why you're supposed to be able to get a divorce.
But it's not about, the prenup is not about getting a divorce.
It is, though, because the only way that the prenup takes effect is if you get one.
Right. But it's not getting a prenup is not a should you get a divorce issue. Divorce is divorce. That's a whole.
Yeah, but the only way that a prenup matters is if you get a divorce. So that's
right. But it's not the what I'm saying is it's not the prenup's fault if you get a divorce. If you were going to divorce, you were going to divorce. I don't think, like, if y'all agree to a prenup, that's going to increase your chances of getting a divorce.
Okay, so I agree with that. I don't think that agreeing to a prenup means that it's going to increase your chances of getting divorced. But what I'm saying is the only reason to have a prenup is if divorce is in the picture anyway. So if everybody in America signed a prenup, right, and 50% of the people got divorced, 50% didn't, it's still about the divorce.
Yeah.
And so so from a biblical standpoint, if you're getting a divorce, there's still a responsibility of the husband that's getting a divorce to the wife. There's still a financial responsibility to that woman, unless there was a reason that she's getting divorced, right? Like, because there's a small list, like I said, you know, it's like adultery, or there's like only a couple of things that the Bible says, you know, these are reasons why you can, and in those situations, I don't know if you can or if you would be providing for or not, but I know biblically it's for the man to provide for their, and if the guy's not there, then the siblings have to take care of, or this, you know what I mean? But the women are to be provided for, right?
Yeah. So I think that's Old Testament, and I think, not saying that Old Testament,
Right.
but not everything Old Testament applies in New Testament terms. Some stuff does.
Right.
I don't know if that one
Has transferred over.
Okay, so for example, in Hebrew culture, let's say me and you were brothers, and I pass away.
Yeah, I'd have to take care of your wife.
No, you don't have to take care of my wife. She has to come and live with you.
Right.
Like, she's your wife now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everything doesn't.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's not the same. Yeah,
It's not the same thing.
That's culture as opposed to like, yeah. So that's
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, in the prenup, it's just you come to an agreement. Like, I don't think. All right. So let's say you got an athlete. He makes $100 million over a span of let's say a 15-year career.
yeah.
Right. You got your spouse, and this is just one example, guys. I'm not saying this is the only. It's just a man making a bunch of money, but I'm just using this as a common example, right? The spouse, she doesn't work. Well, let's say she did. She went to college. She had a career. She was, doing, I don't know, interior design, right?
Yeah.
She met you. Y'all got together. She's still doing her thing. She's making $50,000 a year. You're like, hey, baby, let's start a family.
She shuts it down.
She shuts it down. She just wants to take care of the kids. Y'all both cool with that. Y'all got 4 kids. She's doing all the helping with the homework, raising them, cooking, cleaning. You probably got, maids and stuff too,
Yeah.
helping out. But she's still a significant part of which is a very important role that she's playing.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
And so, you guys divorce. Does she get 50 million of that 100 million?
So okay, I'm gonna address that, but I'm gonna jump back first.
Right.
This is the part about is talking about prenup from the jump street. Is that
No.
so? I disagree. I think that I understand the preparation, and I understand having your financial house in order. But when you're coming into a marriage, and I don't know if this is necessarily biblical or not, this is just the way I look at it. Like, when you're coming in, especially if, I think it's a little bit different if you come into the relationship with something beforehand than if you grow to something within the relationship, right? Like, if I'm broke.
Completely different. Yes.
Yeah, you
I
see
agree.
that?
Let's say, all right, so scenario number 2,
Yeah.
man, woman get married, y'all come together,
Yes.
y'all doing okay, whatever, but
Right.
y'all together, you guys grow into like millionaires.
Right.
So whether,
but even if it's my career that grows to that place and she's doing whatever it is that she was doing.
yeah.
Right.
But whatever she's doing is helping to support you,
still yep.
Or, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's different.
Okay. So that's where so yeah. Okay.
Cause and the reason why, the reason why I think it's different is, let's say.
But so from this chick's standpoint, she was with Travis Hunter in high school before he had Fred. Okay.
Girlfriend, bro. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, I hear that and I understand that. Right. But they're married now. And so.
Okay. Wait, still not the same. This dude is still like the man where he is, like, so.
But so this is my thing, right? Like, I remember the high school sweetheart feeling. And I know how I feel about my wife right now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the motivation, the encouragement, the push and desire to do the more is not for me. You know what I'm saying? I would be good in an apartment, solo dolo, not doing much. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The push and the drive for our business and for, our financial resources and everything else is for my kids and for my wife. And so and I don't think that, like, we had a pod a couple of, weeks ago about the kids and how, they were doing really good. And I was saying to you then that, like, it's not just about intelligence, it's about the system at the house that allows or that supports them to be able to do what it is that they're doing. That's a bigger factor. And so believing in a person that you're with can be perhaps without this woman in your life, you might not ever want to continue that dream. You might not want to do this, that, or the third.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about them, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
He does not need her. He did not need her to get where he is right now.
I agree he didn't need her to get there. But when you got a person at 15 years old, then it's, what I'm saying is that perhaps, I'm not saying it's necessarily the case, I don't know him, but perhaps that's more motivation. Like, I mean, I'm going to do this for my girl so that we can get this, so that we can do that.
Okay. No, this dude, this dude has God-given, once in a generation talent.
But how many people are
he don't need her.
How many people are in a subway singing right now with once in a generation type of talent? Or how many people were in high school or did this, that, and the third that had that extraordinary level of talent but didn't end up doing something with it? That story is all over the place.
Yes. Okay, so for one, sports and, say, entertainment, like music, two completely different things.
Yeah, but it's still very hard to maximize and to get into those rooms no matter what.
Yes.
I mean, there was a person that
you can be so you can hear a guy in the subway either playing the violin or singing, and he sounds just as good as whoever the top singers are right now. Yeah, those people will come a dime a dozen.
There's somebody that was a number 1 5-star recruit for high school football that went to college and they would have been a 5-star first-round draft pick, and it fit. Like, that story is all over the place.
Wait, but what happened though?
Exactly.
No. I'm saying anybody who's if you're 5-star in high school, colleges everywhere are looking at you.
Yeah.
Okay. When you go to the college level, if you're still 5-star.
So, for example, like Johnny Manziel, right? Heisman Award winner, right?
Okay.
Could have had even Baker Mayfield, but he's on the bounce back, right? He could have had the career that continued on, or you look at Lamar, what's my dude's name? Vince Young, all these people, right, that had this long, but it was their mindset and it was what it was that they got caught up with in the process.
I think we're talking about different things. Like, that happens all the time. Like, Johnny Manziel, he screwed his career up because he went to party and do all that kind of stuff. He didn't focus.
Yeah, he didn't have a chick that he believed in.
That's not because, so, all right, let's say one of your sons, he's, are they in sports yet? They're not really in sports yet.
Yeah, no, we got to get him back.
Okay, let's say basketball. They end up playing basketball.
Yeah.
Let's say Isaiah ends up being that dude.
Yeah.
Right? High school, colleges recruit him. He gets to college. You know what I'm saying? He's playing for Duke. He might be the third best player on that team. He's doing his thing. It's like, oh, man, he could, it's the Duke. You third best. You know what I'm saying? You could do something with that. Are you going to tell him, hey, son, now to really take it to the next level, we need to find you a woman that encourages you so you can hopefully make it to the... No, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Find a good woman because that's going to compliment you, but like what you do is up to you. So like with Travis Hunter, here's my point. With Travis Hunter, he's a once in a generation talent. His talent did not come from her. It came from God and his hard work and his coaching and coaches, right?
Yes.
It ain't got nothing to do with her. That's cool. You got
No, I agree with that.
You got a girlfriend, whatever. That's cute, right? So what I'm saying is if he makes 100 million in his career, she don't deserve 50. That's what I'm saying. I'm not I
mean, I can't argue that.
So I'm not saying that she deserves 0. So like if they're gonna have the prenup conversation, like, cause like, okay, whatever she would have done with her life if she never met him or never got with him, she would have been doing that to take care of herself. But typically in that type of role, in this scenario, the wife is giving up like any type of career stuff to be at home. So, you know, if y'all 10 years in, get divorced, you got a 10-year gap of like not working. That's going to put you in a bad spot, right? So I feel like she deserves something. Yeah. I'm just saying she don't deserve half. Like you making 100 million.
I can't argue with that.
You can break off at $1 million or $2 million.
But then you get to the question of like, and so I agree with you.
Okay.
All right. But I'm just trying to play, the other side of the coin.
Okay.
It's like, who determines what that dollar amount is? Obviously, if you got a prenup, it's based on whatever agreement the two of you come up with, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's no kind of standard, and a lot of times it's just whatever you know what I mean?
It just be common sense, bro. Like,
what does common sense mean? You say,
all right, so here's what it means. Here's what it means. All right. So you said having the prenup conversation plants a seed, right? I look at it different.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a real life example. Your boy from All the Smoke podcast.
Yeah, Steven Jackson. And Matt Barnes.
Okay, so Steven Jackson he told the story. So he was in love with his girl. They were getting married. Mm-hmm. He asked her like, "Hey, can you sign this prenup? This is what it is." She was like, "Okay, I'll do it," but she never got around to it. And so like months passed. He would like every now and then check on her like, "Hey, did you sign a prenup?" Like, "No, I've been busy." Blah blah blah. You know, coming up weeks before the wedding, he asked her, "Hey, did you sign a prenup?" "No, I've just been so been caught up in so much stuff and blase." Right. So it got to the day of the wedding. She still didn't sign the prenup. He called the wedding off. Okay. Did he make a good decision?
I mean, he made the decision that was necessary for him, I guess. I can't. Was it good or was it bad? I think she shouldn't have played games with it. If Steven Jackson, if that was your dude, would you tell him if that and that's the scenario he told you, but if that's what he told you was happening, would you be like, "Man, just go ahead and marry that girl"? Would you tell him that? No, because I think that if she agreed to signing it, then she should have signed it.
Okay, so
because if it was a problem because obviously it was a problem for her to sign it.
Right.
It's a signature. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you agree to do it, then do it. And if it was a problem, you should have said so from the beginning.
Okay. So in his case, the prenup situation, did it plant a seed of divorce or did it uncover something that he needed to see?
I think in that situation, she just wasn't being real, because I think what I mean by the seed of divorce is like, I look at it from the scenario like, all right, boom. So I got a homie that just got a divorce from his wife and then, recently. And, married another woman, very shortly after, right? Mm-hmm. But that same homie spent years, because his wife was making a significant amount of money more than what he was making, right? And so he stayed at home for like 7 or 8 years, right? And was just at the crib, with the girls, and did X, did Y, did Z, and took care of business, took care of business on the home front, make sure that he still played the role of the man, right? Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't a bum. He was...
No, but he was at home, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he took care of everything so that they didn't have to do daycare or after school or, all the other things. They can get to the extracurriculars, everything could be taken care of the way that it was supposed to be taken care of and handled. Real stand up, you know what I'm saying? Where they were supposed to go. Before they got married, she was already on a path because she had, her degree. You know what I'm saying? She graduated from college and she was, and it was a really good, reputable school. So she was on the way to, immediately making that bread.
Okay.
So to start off with, hey, to sign this prenup. To me personally, I know even if my wife would have said it to me, I'm looking at that as like, there's only one need for a prenup, and that's if we're getting a divorce. And so if we're starting off and our conversation is divorce, then I'm out, because we're already like, this is the wrong. I don't want my wife to think that divorce is even a potential possibility.
Okay.
And so if we're having that, so that means that you already believe that it's possible for us to be, and like that is, it's a level of doubt that's already in your mind. And that's the opposite of what I believe that, especially as believers, that's the opposite of what it is I believe that we're supposed to be operating out of.
Okay. So I think that situation is a little bit different if y'all come together, because the scenario I'm talking about is like, this is the man or the woman.
Yeah.
One person's already made it. Like, they're
Okay,
already
so
there.
but even if you, okay, so if I got $50 million and my wife is coming to me, or my wife has $50 million and we've been together for a little bit, but she's already got the bread, right?
Okay.
And she comes to me with prenup, it's still the same principle.
Okay.
Like, I understand that you got this money, right?
Right.
But what you're saying to me is, hey, to me, this is what it says, is that I think somewhere in you is the potential to divorce me and take my money.
Okay.
And to me, that's a smack in my face. It's like, why?
I get that. I can definitely see that. So, but like, 99% of people who get married aren't expecting to get divorced when they're at the altar, right?
I mean, I get that, but like, then why are we having the conversation of divorce?
Well, because so my whole point is, a lot of these dudes and some women,
yeah,
who, my
it's
gripe,
necessary. Like, it is necessary to protect your investment in yourself.
Right, that's
You know
what I'm saying.
So like, I get that, but I don't appreciate it. Like, what did Chris Rock say?
Okay.
Like, I understand, but I don't condone.
okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough conversation to have.
Yeah.
But really, for me, my gripe isn't with the man or the woman. It's really just the system.
Yeah,
that we have that's in place.
Now now with preach. Now
okay, you know what I'm saying? So like, because I know what dudes paying. I think Diddy, Nas, like Paul McCartney,
all
boy, ridiculous amount. You know what I'm saying? Just like amount of like child support. Like, who needs $30,000 a month to take care of a kid? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that person ain't doing. You know what I'm saying? It's my money. Like, I don't.
Man, Paul McCartney's paying $20,000 a day. I can't even imagine.
$20,000 a day, bro.
Kanye West got hit with something crazy. I don't know, whatever it was. Michael Jordan, we were talking about earlier. You know, $167 million, just write the check. You know, that's you know.
So all right, so let's talk about the Michael Jordan thing. So as far as I know he cheated.
Yeah.
On Juanita.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Whatever her name is, on Mrs. Jordan, right? Does she deserve? Yes, she deserves. She deserves some money. She deserves money. 168 million.
See, but the other part of it is especially when it comes to the courts, right? Quote unquote, the court's looking at it like, you have taken this person from where they were and brought them to this particular lifestyle.
Congratulations.
And so now because you did that, they still deserve to live this type of lifestyle.
Why? That makes no sense to me.
Because that's what they don't deserve to fall back to the lifestyle that they were living before, because it's your fault that
it's my fault that they were living so well. That's what the courts are saying.
It's your fault that in Michael Jordan's case is you were cheating, so you did something wrong. You brought it to this place.
Yeah,
and now she's stuck.
Yeah. No, so if you do something where you're at fault for divorce like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like, you know, I know there's like another thing they call irreconcilable differences or whatever. Just like a regular we don't like each other no more. You know what I'm saying? But like, he cheated. Yeah, he should definitely come up off some.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the details of that either. I didn't even know, but yeah.
But like, bruh, it's
$20,000 a day, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, nobody needs
because she's helped out with whatever it was she helped out with as a wife. Right. They got kids. She helped out. She did her thing with the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know her. I'm just in general like, you're raising your kids. You know what I'm saying? You deserve money. I'm just saying like 168 million. And your kids didn't. Never mind. They didn't. Kids didn't turn out that great. Anyway, and she didn't help him. Like, she wasn't like getting rebounds for Jordan when he was shooting.
Right.
Hitting him back, like helping with training. You know what I mean?
Yep. Nope.
That's just it's excessive. It's excessive.
It is excessive. And but how do you fix it though? That's the question. So like, if that's not what should be done, then how do you fix it?
We gotta. I don't know. How do you change those? However you change laws, you got to change laws. But like, because apparently these, like, in my opinion, such a common sense thing has been going on for so long. I don't think it's going to change. I think it's corruption. So I think you have to protect yourself, because again, half the people get divorced. You know what I'm saying? So in Travis Hunter's case, if he was to tell her like, hey, I love you, but look, we need to have this talk. It's not going to be an easy talk.
Yeah.
If in the end, and I wouldn't fault her for feeling like how you said you would feel. Like I wouldn't fault her for feeling that way. But after processing it, to me, if it's like, oh no, if we get divorced, I want half. If that's what that is, then you don't need to marry this chick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Because I don't feel like asking for a prenup is evil intent.
If any person, male or female, if the conversation is brought up about a prenup and your response is, oh no, I want half, like there's no bigger red flag. That's a deal breaker.
Hills, bro.
That's a deal breaker for sure. For the hills. That's definitely not the way to go.
And nobody's gonna say that, but it's gonna be like a Steve Jackson's situation. Oh, I just forgot to sign. You've been forgetting for months.
Weeks or months.
For a year.
After a couple of reminders or several reminders.
It only takes, how long does it take to sign?
That's it.
That's it.
So yeah, I don't envy Travis Hunter in the situation that he's in, and I just pray that they don't put themselves in that position, man. I'm hoping for a long,
Bro, I hope they stay married their whole life.
Yeah, you know what I
mean?
They're
happy, but
it's man, and just sitting back looking at it, I feel like I'm very hopeful for them. I don't want to speak any ill, but
I'm worried about them, dog.
It seems like it's kind of off on the wrong foot already. They're both heavily involved in social media. There is obvious that, he's already got a proclivity for spending and for doing a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's only going to get worse from here. If you think that it was bad in college, as far as like the level of temptations that's going to be thrown his direction.
Oh, for sure.
And he was making, NIL money. He was getting some pretty good bread. Mm-hmm. But, once you start making that NFL money, man, it's hard to realize that your poop doesn't stink. You know what I'm saying? When you start getting everything handed to you a lot more. Yeah. And so I know they've had some back and forths with people online and stuff like that. So I just hope that they really lock in and go forward, because it's a bumpy road, man. And so, shout out to them. Best of everything to you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real out here.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's it, bro.
Yeah. And hey, anybody out here that's dealing with those situations, let us know what you think about prenups.
Yeah, I'll tell you why you're wrong if you disagree. But again, it's not for everybody. It's not for my situation.
Yeah, it's not for my situation.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But yeah. So look. Anyway, till next time, like, share, subscribe, and get busy.
Get busy, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.